Good day and welcome to another GED Express video with me, Teacher Marco, here in Bukit Pals. And today I will explain to you the GED RLA Extended Response marking scheme. How is your essay scored in the GED test? Now, the extended response, just to give you a background, requires student to closely read text that is more complex, greater in length, and also to determine what is explicitly stated, and draw specific comparisons between two texts, distinguish between valid arguments and faulty reasoning, and distinguish between supported and unsupported claims, make logical inferences based on evidence, and draw relevant and sufficient evidence based from texts. Now, you will be given two sources with somehow different point of view and different set of arguments. And what you will have to do, usually the prompt will tell you to check which source is best supported by evidence or which argument has stronger support. Now, why are the students struggling? Because most of them are not utilizing an outline or plan from which to write. A lot of students just simply write what they are thinking at the moment without making a plan. They're not taking a structured approach to the task. Like what I said, again, they just spontaneously write whatever they want and they're not proofreading. They're not writing enough to be scored, even though they're trying to write as much as they can. A lot of the sentences and the words and the contents of their essay still not enough. Okay, so it's irrelevant, and of course they're not fully utilizing the available time, which is 45 minutes. And now, what earns points? You have to go beyond, not just only by stating which side is better supported. A single statement of a stance is considered insufficient. You have to include reasons. You have to include why. Don't just copy or use quotations. Evidence cited must support the overall message and must be analyzed in some way. So, of course, let's go to the rubric. Now, the rubric is a guideline used to score your essay or your extended response. Let's take a look from a resource from the GED website. Let's see if we can make this larger. Okay. All right. Hold on. Okay. The extended response. Yeah, here you go. So here, let's have a quick read. So it says here that reasoning through language arts includes the extended response, right? We know that. And the extended response is scored through reference to a three-trait multi-dimensional rubric, meaning there are three traits that is used as a guideline in the rubric. So what are the three traits? The rubric focuses on three key elements of writing. Trait 1, the creation of arguments and use of evidence. Let's make that bigger. Trait 2, development of ideas and organizational structure. Trait 3, clarity and command of standard English conversations. So there you go. Each of the trait Okay, these responses are scored on a 6-point scale, with each trait being worth up to 2 points. Okay, the final raw score on the extended response item is then double weighted so that it represents 12 raw score points on the overall RLA test. Okay, so you will be given a maximum of 2 points for trait 1 from 0 to 2, and then after that it will be multiplied or doubled. Multiplied to 2 or doubled. Okay, so if you got like 2 here and then 2 and then another 2 points here in trait 3, they add it up and it's going to be 6 times 2. It's going to be 12 raw score points. Now, let's take a look at some of better explanation on how they score it. Okay, so if we go to trait 1, creation of arguments and use of evidence, here's how you will earn 2 points. You must have a response that generates text-based arguments and establish a purpose that is connected to the prompt. It cites relevant and specific evidence from source text to support argument. It may include few irrelevant pieces of evidence or unsupported claims. It analyzes the issue or evaluates the validity of the argumentation with the source text. For example, it distinguishes between supported and unsupported claims, makes reasonable inferences about underlying premises or assumptions, identifies fallacious reasoning, evaluates the credibility of the sources. This is really important. A lot of students are just quoting the source text without even, explaining it, without creating explanations about the text. They don't actually explain that this evidence is relevant to the topic, or this is a strong evidence because what? They have to explain. It's not enough to just say that an evidence is strong. It's important to explain how relevant is the evidence, how accurate, how specific, how current. What is the authority being exposed by the evidence? It's important to explain that and to write that in order to have a 2 points score in trait 1. Now let's go to trait 2, which is development of ideas and organizational structure. How coherent, how cohesive is your essay? Is it organized well? So you will have a score of 2 if it contains ideas that are well developed, meaning you use proper transition, and most ideas are elaborated. It's complete. It contains a sensible progression. Here you go, a sensible progression. It's not like a salad bowl of words without properly organizing it. It's really important to organize your text. It establishes an organizational structure, conveys the message and purpose of the response. It applies transitional devices appropriately. It establishes and maintains a formal style and appropriate tone, your choice of words, that demonstrates awareness of the audience and purpose of the task. It chooses specific words to express ideas clearly. One thing that I tell my students is, imagine that your reader is someone who is not aware of the text or the source text yet. Imagine that you're trying to explain in a very systematic way, in a very efficient way. In that way, your essay will be organized. Imagine that you're trying to teach someone about a certain topic. So that's the secret in order for you to have a 2 points score for the second trait. And then the third trait, which is clarity and command of standard English conventions. So this is where grammar skills are measured. So again, there's a lot for you to know in grammar, and it's important for you to keep on practicing and be aware of these rules when you're writing. So what do you need to do in order to have a 2 points? For you to have 2 points, you have to demonstrate largely correct sentence structure and a general fluency that enhances clarity with specific regard to the following skills: varied sentence structure within a paragraph or paragraphs, correct subordination, coordination, and parallelism. Again, when you're listing something, it should be parallel to each other. You're using of a subordinating clause and coordinating clauses. Avoiding redundancy, avoidance of wordiness and awkward sentences, using of transitional words, and all of these grammar skills. You can pause on the screen and take a look at it, but you know what I'm saying, you know. And how can we attain this? There's too much. Like what I said, you have to keep on practicing. You have to keep on writing. You have to proofread. Because if you don't proofread and if you just spontaneously write what's on your head, everything will not have a proper organization. You'll have some grammar errors. So it's very important to have a plan. Initially, you have a plan. Then you have to execute that plan. Then after that, you have to proofread. And all of those, you have to do it in 45 minutes. That's why it's really important for you to picture what